Got this. Okay, so here I'm just going to take some colors. Now what I've done here is taken a tag and taken a little bit of Dina's Gesso using a palette knife. Okay. Now I say Dina's Gesso because I've tried this with a lot of other Gessos out there. Even when I taught creative chemistry last year, I challenged the students, find a Gesso that works like this. No one could. Because what's interesting about Dina's Gesso is it has the property of being very porous. It's a great foundation for paints and inks. But what I found is it's the only Gesso that will also give back. Okay? Usually Gesso is so porous that once you have a coloring medium on there, that's it. That's what it's designed to do, bond on it. And I think that's very cool, but what I love about this is that I can do this technique. So I put a little Gesso on a palette knife, quickly skim it across, and you can see on my tag that it's got just Gesso here and there. Can you guys see that before I do anything to it? Okay. So that's where it gets really interesting. But now that we don't have any medium, my blendability, much shorter window. Okay, so here I was coloring much larger areas. This one you want to go a little smaller because your blend time, because we don't have any collage medium on it, is much shorter because my paper wants to grab my color. All right, so I'm going to add some color carefully. Then I'm going to go in and blend. Okay, now you can see that crayon is already dry. What do we do?
More crayon.
Add more. You got it. Yep. Yeah, it's a good little saving tip because sometimes you'll do it and be like, well, okay, I'm done. No, you don't have to be.
Do you ever think about having a clear crayon that would activate any color?
We've tried a clear crayon, but the pigment in it is actually the binder. So it was like it never set up unless it had some sort of colorant. And then to me, it's kind of like when you use matte medium where it gets a little hazy. That's what it was doing. So same thing with metallic. We're really trying metallic crayons too, but it's challenging to get a true metallic pigment to not just collapse. Metallic pigments are crazy. There's a lot of chemistry and magnetic fields, and I don't know. They speak to me and I just shake my head when they tell me why they can't do it. Yeah, because they can make a pearly crayon easy. You know, that's like adding perfect pearls to it. But I want like true metallic, and that, you know, like a gold gilding wax.
Like
Imagine that in a crayon. So that's my standard. Because once you settle, you're done.
Oh no.
You know, if I said, oh, that's good, I would never get another one. That would be the gold crayon. Not gonna happen. So I'm like, nah, not really there. Let's keep going. Well, it's kind of like oxide.
True.
You know, oxides were over 3 years, so I could have settled at many years. It would have never been what it is now. Because everything we did, like, it just upped the game from where we even started. All right, so I won't color the whole thing. I'm just gonna add some. So here's what I want to share with you about adding Gesso as a layer with your crayon. First of all, the texture is cool. We can see that texture coming through, and that is because the white Gesso is our light source. It's coming through our color, and this dark area is where we had that heavy stock, where our color just absorbed into the paper. Okay, pretty neat. What makes it even neater is that I can use stencils with them. So I'm going to take my layering stencils. They're in these little bags. These bags fun. I think it's funny that they have us do bags. Di picked these bags. This is Diane's configuration. So each year as designers, not only do we all get to do it, but we got to pick our bag shape. So that was my bag shape last year because it fits all 6 of these in your bag. So when people are like, what do you do with your mini tunes? It fits that long bag. And then this year was Di's, and these fit like for big stencils or little stencils or. But I'll find these, yeah. I've got stencils in mine, I got stamping blocks, I have foam stamps in this one. This fits my foam stamps actually pretty good. Yeah, kind of like that. 3 sets of foam stamps in there. So I was pretty happy about that. Well done, Di. So when I use a stencil on this, I'm just going to take a design. Maybe we'll take, I don't know, let's take that cool trellis. It's pretty neat. Now I have some samples over here I'll show you just at the end. That when you work with stencils, different scale is going to be super impactful. So big and minis. I think I'm going to do this as a download on my blog because I think as crafters, somebody might want to print out this little sheet to kind of see the difference in scale when you're using on a project. So for this, if I look at it, that's a really big scale for my background, right? Anything I take off is going to be huge. That's why it's good to have different size options on a stencil. And there again, every show I try to just push and push and push the boundaries of, really? That's a stencil. How cool is that? Strings. Ted does not like that stencil. Okay, I'm gonna lay this down. Just gonna take a baby wipe. I'm just gonna wipe through this. All right, I'm gonna take my cloth and I'm going to blot this up because I want it to be dry. So what's cool about this is that it's going to reveal that stencil. It's also going to be much more vibrant where there's gesso, but it's still going to lip that crayon, but it's going to be much more faded where there's paper. And this is just a really cool way that you can incorporate different designs, different styles, different patterns into your work by kind of adding and lifting color off. Now, I said I use a baby wipe simply because this baby wipe has been sitting out for a while, but if I was doing this with a fresh baby wipe, I would have taken some of the moisture out first, like with a paper towel. Because just like it works with the stencil, if you went over it with too much water, this is also very cool. It's also very cool. It would go all the way down to your gesso, right? Where a paper would be permanent, so this too is kind of cool, right? That's still a cool look. So sometimes, if I don't want to use my palette knife, I'll do gesso through a stencil. Right? I'll put a little gesso on my blending tool and go right through it, and then it becomes a resist. So there's a lot of, once you understand the function of a technique,
Then you can play with different ways.
totally play. If you're like, well, I don't like that smudge, well then don't apply it in a smudge. Apply it in something else. You can stamp in gesso. I mean, the only thing when you get gesso on your tools, clean it. We all know
permanent.
that.
It is
Yes,
totally
we all know that. So when you get gesso on a stencil,
stencil's not pretty.
or clean that. That's so that's why when it comes to working with gesso, I'm a little. I'll probably just stick with a palette knife because my palette knife, I assure you, this is not mine. Yeah, mine. I just recognize it because it's the chunkiest thing, and I'm like, that's my palette knife.
It will peel right off.
It peels off of this.
Just use your finger, and because it's plastic, the gesso will peel
I'll
off.
try it,
Off of plastic.
but it hasn't chipped off yet.
No, but
gotta
it will.
scratch it?
It's like paint being plastic.
Yeah?
It's the same. It should.
I'll try it.
comes off.
I'll try it. Mine really is a bit textural.
You might have to use like.
Maybe because it has texture paste on it too, or grit paste on it too.
Maybe.
All right.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to give our video a thumbs up and subscribe to Scrap Time videos on YouTube to be the first to see all our videos from Creativation.